Hello, my friends. Tomorrow is my 47th birthday, and I wanted to share some things. Specifically, some of the biggest lessons that I've learned in 47 years of life, and also some of the things that I'm working on still. Because if you've been watching this channel long, or you've come to know me, you know that even though I'm often in a teacher role, I consider myself ever a student, which means that I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to be aware of what's going on in my life, in my mind, in my body, and seeing if I can continue to grow and evolve as a human being. As I think of what I've learned, and I'm going to hit these in no particular order, but a poignant one this year for me has been realizing that cultivating people is so much more than cultivating money or cultivating all the other things that our culture tells us are so important to put our energy into. It's been an interesting year in the sense that I've lost some friends that were very important to me. I have asked for space in some of my relationships with people. I've had some fallings out. I've had some fallings in. I've met a lot of new friends. I've connected with people from around the world. And all in all, my friend Brett, he once said to me that, Kenton, if we're going to invest in anything in life, people should be the thing we invest in. And there's a lot of people that I can think of that have embodied that. But those words of Brett's, they often remind me of what's really important to put my energy into. I'm thinking about all of you who have become such a big part of my life. It's surprising to me how many of you I have gotten to meet and I'm going to be getting to meet in the next year in person. But it's been really good. Technology. And that brings up another thing I've learned, and that's that this technology that we've created, it's very much a double-edged sword. It comes with a lot of liabilities. Something like the camera that's filming this video. It took a lot of resources to make. It took factories, took an entire kind of structure of civilization in order to enable this to be. The plastic in it, the electronics, stuff that's not easy to dispose of or recycle. At the same time, this enables a connection across space. I don't mean outer space, but I mean across oceans. And again, to harken back to that first one, some of you that I've connected with through this machine, through this piece of technology, have come here and I have shared tears with and stories with and months of growth and life and change. So I always have to remind myself, as being a nature-oriented person, that technology has great gifts if we can use it wisely. My computer pulls me in often. I spend a lot of time on that computer, answering comments, upkeeping all of this connection that we have through this technology. And so that is a constant reminder that if I don't use that technology wisely, it will use me. I will become addicted to it. I will start not spending time with my family. I will find my mind pulled again and again toward that technology and the chemical little endorphin releases. That endorphin, can't remember it right now. That feel-good chemical that happens every time we get a comment, every time we get a like, every time we get a text on a smartphone. We need to use this technology with wisdom. Use it with compassion and love. Use it for connection between people. Okay, next, journals. This morning I picked up a journal that I started last year, and it was amazing to read some of those entries. They bring back memories. Journaling is such an amazing thing to do. It keeps your life in your mind. It reminds you of where you were and where you've come. I also noticed that I had made about 8 entries in that journal, and then I had just left off and haven't written in a journal since. I am terrible at journaling, and I really wish I was better. I've learned in this 47 years that our mind, I've learned in this 47 years that we have so much more control over our mind and our emotions than we've been taught. This comes with a bitter pill to swallow, which is some responsibility. When I am thinking badly of somebody, if I snap at somebody, it's really easy to blame externals when we are suffering in some way or when we act in a way that we're not proud of. But though externals hold power, we hold power too. And if we can remember that we can exercise a lot of control over our mind and emotions, then we approach life differently. Living in the illusion that externals just push me here and there and I have no choice as to how I'm going to react, then I'm just pushed around. But if I start to realize that if I cultivate compassion, if I cultivate mindfulness and love, if I meditate, if I take the time to still my mind, that I do not have to be at the mercy of anxiety and depression and frustration and anger and outbursts. This takes training. It takes effort. Our mind is just like our body. If we train it, it will grow stronger. If we allow it to just course along and we let externals push us around, our mind will grow weaker over time, and we will be at the mercy of everything that happens in our life. I have learned that feeding your body good food and good movement, it makes such a difference in life. This year I went from, I've never been a drinker, but Rebecca and I would buy some wine once in a while and have a glass of red wine once a week or something like that. But I've left off alcohol completely. Now we have largely removed sugar from our diet. We're eating simpler and cleaner every day, incorporating more and more wild foods over the years. This has made a huge difference in how my body and my mind feels in any given moment. If my mind is clouded by alcohol and sugar and junk food and I'm just kind of feeling like this all the time, it's really difficult to live a life that feels meaningful, that feels fulfilled, because so much of my energy is just eroded away by that food that is poisoning my system. When we eat good food, and I'm going to push foraging here, if you have access to some nature and you can get out and start picking some wild greens, this is free food that is so healthy and nutritious. If we can start putting more of that into our bodies, we will feel different. And that will affect how we treat other people, how we respond to life, our creativity, our sense of fulfillment and joy across the board. It goes the same with movement. If our bodies are stagnant, if we accept the temptation, that siren song of sitting on a couch and not moving our bodies and just watching screens all day long, our bodies very quickly erode. The same goes if we work our bodies too hard. My surgery that you all followed me through, that shoulder surgery, that was a result of using my body in really, really hard ways. I took pride back then in being that person that could be, because we were training horses a lot, that could be bucked off the horse and thrown on the ground and get up dirty and bloody and still just get back up on the horse. And I think I took a pride in being able to abuse my body and keep going. Now, I'm seeing movement in a different light. I'm going to be moving more intelligently and smarter. And I think that's going to make me into a much healthier person as I near the end of my first 50 years and move into hopefully my next 50 years. I've learned that there are two ways to deal with the problems of life. The one is to deal with the symptoms. Think about our relationships in life. If you have some close relationships and they're experiencing problems, we can deal with those symptoms. We can try to fix, okay, well, we feel like one of us is contributing more to this relationship than the other, and we can try to work on that level. Always trying to fix the apparent problem. But those problems, those apparent problems, they are generated by something. And when we take personal responsibility, we see that they're generated often by something inside of us. And that is that our foundation is not strong. If we are insecure, if we are anxious, if we are in a state of always feeling in lack, like we are not enough or there is not enough, then that reflects on how we treat the people around us. And we're going to manifest those problems in our relationship. So if I have insecurity inside myself, then I'm always going to be looking to the person that I'm with or the people that I'm with to fill that insecurity up. When they don't do it, I'll become angry with them. Then we'll be in this flux of trying to deal with just the symptom. But if I can stop and say, wait, I see that this comes from a foundation inside of me. That my foundation is weak. I haven't taken the time to do the self-work that makes me feel secure inside myself so I don't have to look for that in others. Then I can give my best to other people and they're going to give their best back to me. Just naturally, that's the way we humans are. So building our foundation, to me, that means meditating regularly. It means connecting with something greater than I am. It means keeping my body healthy, feeding myself the best food that I can, and being aware that when my mind goes off into some other place, it starts thinking bad of somebody, starts going into anxiety, then that's time for me to stop and say, this is the moment to build my foundation. This is the moment to stop what I'm doing, to go sit in meditation, find myself, build up that strong, strong mental, emotional foundation from which we can approach life in a positive way. The final thing, but certainly not the least, is surrender. That has become the most powerful force in my life. We humans are very convinced that our will and our strength can overcome almost anything. And those are powerful gifts we have. Sometimes there is a time to fight, to use our strength and our will. But very often, life is throwing us things that we are helpless to resist. And yet we will resist and we will fight. And in doing so, we use a lot of energy that often, if we would devote it to surrender, we would find that the only real battle that's happening is inside of ourselves. There have been so many times when, well, the cold is the perfect example. by surrendering and just saying, look, I'm going to feel this cold, I might even find that the cold is not as cold as I thought. That most of what's happening is my mind resisting and fighting what is. And then I have no energy to change my situation. This is how we get trapped in endless cycles in our life. When we can surrender to what's happening right now, then this marvelous paradox occurs in our life, where we're not resisting, we're not using energy to fight what is. And then we can look clearly and say, okay, you know, this cold, it actually feels kind of good. The snow, it actually tickles. Now, this sensation, which I could have made very unpleasant, is actually pleasant. And I still realize that I do need to get a fire going, and I can't stay out in here indefinitely. But I'm going to be able to approach that problem much more creatively than if I was panicking or fighting. This surrender can be on the surface like that, but it can go much deeper. And what I'm talking about is we can surrender to something greater than ourselves. We might use the word God. We might use the word what is. That sense of releasing our will, surfing with life, instead of trying to stand up and push against a wave that's just going to bowl us over. Then we dance with the experience of life in a way that we never can when we're fighting. I'd like to end this with the biggest things that I'm learning right now in my life. And there's really two things that I'm trying to work really hard on. The one is continuing my quest to learn to let others give to me. As you know, I love to give, but I've resisted accepting, receiving in the past. And I'm getting way better with that, I'm happy to say. And I've been hearing from people that they love that I am allowing that experience of giving, which I wasn't allowing before. That's been a big lesson that's continuing to unfold for me. And a lot of you have played a big part in that. So thank you. I'm also right now, because we're moving into the yurt, we're moving out of the house, and we are letting go of a lot of belongings. Many of these things hold sentimental value. To release those things has been very difficult in some ways, and yet I've noticed again and again the weight that those things hold. And there is this immense sense of freedom. So something I'm learning right now is the power of simplicity, of having less, of letting go of things that aren't really necessary in our life. And what I'm finding is that when we release those extraneous things, then there's all this space open in our life. And that space gets to get filled up with the things that are deeply meaningful to us. And our experience of everyday life is incredibly more joyful when we have, oddly, less. Less is more. That's pretty cliche. I should have looked and seen how long this YouTube channel has been going, but it's been some years now. And a lot of you have been here a long time with me. Some of you are brand new and have just reached out, and maybe this is even your first video. In any case, I'm grateful for you. It's been an amazing journey so far. I can't wait to see what this next year, which promises to be full of new adventures, will bring in the years after that. And I hope I get to keep meeting more and more of you on deeper and deeper levels, hopefully in person. Love to you all. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of my life.